keepers of democracy. It's from the protest. So, will people believe that Netflix actually decided to start Black Mirror Season 6 from society, not from Netflix, but like Easter eggs in news that you need to find in order to find the narrative, and it's like the promo and shit. Why? I thought that maybe people will, buy it if I shape the narrative well enough and make it believable enough and create enough content on myself in order to attract enough attention to the story and the narrative. And based on that, draw attention to the corruption charges against the Prime Minister that should be investigated in order for our country, Israel, to, potentially, hopefully get back on track. Because it's kind of shit, at the moment. And there's the saying in Russian, "Влез в дерьмо, согрейся." If you're in the shit, at least get warm. But it's still shit. It could be so much better. So, about 6 months ago, I decided to join the protest and create a narrative in order to connect the dots and hopefully draw enough attention so that international media will get interested in what's happening in Israel on a model from political sciences standpoint, academically or whatever, in order to comparison what happens there and in the US and in other states that are turning totalitarian, because potentially it is a new stage in social politics. And as a history teacher, if I look back at the pattern based on the black box theory, there is a pattern of how different social structures change over time. And I believe that we're at an age where we're about to turn into a new stage of a social structure. And the preservatives, they're trying to preserve it. Yes, those you would call right wing in Israel, Shamranim. But left wing, progressive, they want to continue and evolve. Now, there are certain things that you need to maintain and keep, of course, but you do need to adapt and continue to improve, just like Bear Grylls said. Improvise, adapt, overcome. So that's what we do. For example, look at Judaism. Yes, there's the Torah, then there's the Nevi'im, then there's Ketuvim, then you have Gemara and Talmud, you have Shulchan Aruch and the Mapa, and then you have the Orthodox, who actually are reformists, because they just said, no, that's it, we stop the evolution of the theology of the Jewish people, we maintain at this point, and that's it, and thank you, that's nice, but it's all good, we don't need to advance into the future, we remain as we are. Not progressive. And for what point? So, I believe that there is a connection, and we can see it in the processes that are happening in different states. I do believe that the US is the most, as you would say, progressive, because it exists for the longest duration of time, so potentially the most processes has occurred in that demography and in that geographical place regarding the politics and whatever. narratives aside, which happen similarly in different royalties or politics or corporations or whatever, because you could say that the corporation world is like the medieval chivalry world. Yes, the lawyers are the knights, and the corporations are the houses with banners and so forth and so on. And there are multi-international corporations that are represented by such lawyers, so it's all kind of connected. So, I mean, maybe there is actually a connection. One has to wonder. And the only way to check is to actually, go into reality and make sure whether it's true or not. So you find out information about different things and processes. You experience them on your own to see it from within in order to understand it. Otherwise, you wouldn't get it. You need to be on the inside of the experience. It's like with the taste of sugar. You can't describe it, you can't fully understand it unless you've tasted it, because it has a uniqueness to it. It's not just sweet, because there are many things that are sweet. There are different sucrose and glucose and whatever else. You can explain it from mathematical or from a chemical or from a biological standpoint or viewpoint, but in the end, unless you have experienced the taste of sugar for yourself, you don't have the full experience of what is the taste of sugar. So sometimes you need to be on the inside of the experience in order to actually understand it better. So I was arrested 3 times. I've been detained, I've been brought in front of a judge, I've been trialed, I've been set free and restricted from access to one street for until the end of the month. And now there are allegations that the peaceful protesters that protest in the vicinity of the Prime Minister's house in Israel are compared to the insurgents in the US, which is really not that. It's just wrong. So there are too many parallelisms between how Trump conducts himself and how Netanyahu conducts himself. There are connections, so potentially a pattern exists, and if so, Israel is much less equipped from a legal standpoint of international law, so we're screwed and we need your help. So, do something. I don't know. I support a non-violent protest. Honestly, that I do. I always raise my hands as a sign of surrender because I do believe that there is no need for violence. I do believe that if we share knowledge, we can understand better the entire picture, and then we can just, understand what is the best solutions for all parties involved. The best possible solution based on reality. It's the most fair thing that we can find. Be kind.